Welcome to Liam's Daily Book Reviews at Northam's Haunted Book Factory. Today's review is on Joe Hill's fourth book, NOS4R2. Not to be confused with the German symphony vampire film from 1922 with the same name. No, this title is the vanity plate on a very scary man's 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith. Now, before I start in on the plot of this novel, I have to acknowledge something and give my opinion on it. Joe Hill is actually Stephen King's youngest son, and at the present moment, he is my all-time favourite author. Now, when I first read a Joe Hill novel, my first impression was that he was pretty much a carbon copy of his old man, writing about supernatural horror happening to everyday people. I thought he was good, but not as good as his dad. Now, though, I know better. I've recently been reading all of Joe Hill's stuff, and I've come to realise he is a much more serious writer than his dad. Joe Hill does indeed write supernatural horror, but his characters take centre stage. The horror that happens is only incidental. It's the feelings and emotions that his characters feel that matters most in his stories. He seems to care more about his characters than Stephen King, even though Stephen King's characters are fantastic and very memorable. But I think as time goes on, Joe Hill will be recognised as the superior author. Now, on to NOS4R2. It's a story of a young girl named Vic McQueen who has a very special talent, a form of magic that she uses throughout her life to find lost things like objects and sometimes people. When she's little, she is kidnapped by this story's antagonist, an ancient monster of a man named Charlie Manx, who also has special powers, but he's like the epitome of evil. Charlie kidnaps children in his death car, which is also not an ordinary car, and he takes them to a place called Christmas Land, which is not as fun as it sounds. By the time the children get there, they aren't children anymore. There's something else. This is the ultimate horror novel with some genuine chills, some hilarious dialogue, and some obnoxiously terrifying characters. And Vic McQueen as the hero is an unstoppable ass kicker. She's just super cool. Vic manages to get free of Charlie when she's a little girl, but years later her own son is taken by Manx, and the race is on for Vic to get her son back before it's too late. The book touches on lots of subjects, such as parental neglect, drug and alcohol abuse, teenage angst, unconventional love, and some very intense scenes of violence, which is handled so expertly by the author that it doesn't dampen the hilarity that the novel sometimes springs at you. It's not my favourite Joe Hill novel. That is a book about gun control in California called Loaded. I might get around to reviewing that one day. NOS4R2 is a 650-page screamer of a novel that has inspired a television show of the same name, which you can see on AMC. I haven't seen it yet, maybe because I care for this novel a whole lot, and I don't want my vision of these awesome characters wrecked by someone else's view of them. I might get around to it one day. This book is definitely worth your time, and I've recommended it to a few friends of mine who enjoyed it as much as I did. Yeah, I definitely recommend it for a read for anybody. Well, fellow book lovers, that's all for today. Tune in tomorrow for a review on a childhood favourite of mine called Watership Down by Richard Adams. Peace.